Welcome to For Real, your go-to source for all things you would like to see firsthand. Imagine experiencing and actually going to live it and make memories for yourself. Be for real, see it for real. Today we're going to talk about the top 10 most mysterious islands rarely seen. Be sure to watch all the way till the end, because that's the one you will sure not want to miss. Number 10, Brazilian Island. Also known as Ilha da Queimada Grande, or Snake Island, is an island off the coast of Brazil in the Atlantic Ocean. The island's terrain varies considerably, ranging from bare rock to rainforest. Think of venom, so powerful that its single drop is capable of melting human flesh. Now think of a snake which is full of such venom. Now, about an island full of just these snakes. Scary, right? Yeah. Snake Island is the only home of the critically endangered venomous Bothrops insularis, golden lancehead pit viper, one of the most dangerous and venomous snakes in the world. These snakes slurp and surf the island like kings, as they are the sole inhabitants of the island. The snakes became trapped on the island when rising sea levels covered up the land that connected it to the mainland. The ensuing selection pressure allowed the snakes to adapt to their new environment, increasing rapidly in population and rendering the island dangerous to public visitation. Queimada Grande is closed to the public in order to protect both people and the snake population. Access is only available to the Brazilian Navy and selected researchers, vetted by the Chico Mendes Institute for Biodiversity Conservation, the Brazilian government conservation unit. Number 9, Island of Bermeja. The red island, known as Isla Bermeja, was marked down on 16th century maps. The island was first mentioned by Alonso de Santa Cruz in El Yucatán e Islas Adyacentes, a list of islands of the region published in Madrid in 1539. It was once a rocky cliff 100 kilometers north of the Mexican Gulf. However, it seems to have vanished and nobody knows where it's gone. Some people speculate that it was blown up by the CIA, and others think it disappeared due to erosion. Explanations for its apparent disappearance include an enormous observation by the early cartographers, shifts in the geography of the ocean floor, rising sea levels, and conspiracy theories claiming that the Central Intelligence Agency destroyed the island to expand the economic zone allotted to the United States. Luckily, there are still majestic islands that exist in Mexico. If you fancied it, you could take a trip towards the mainland, as there's so much on offer in Mexico, especially along Playa Mujeres, where you can find the finest Playa Mujeres all-inclusive resort. Number 8, Diego Garcia. The vaguely U-shaped, 44 square kilometer or 17 miles square atoll in the Indian Ocean, known as Diego Garcia, has thick tropical jungles and white sand beaches. It was home to 2,000 native Chagosians until the British government forcibly relocated them between 1968 and 1973 so that the US could build a naval base there in exchange for Britain's agreement to lease the island, which is of course strategic importance because it's located between East Africa, the Middle East, and Southeast Asia, allowing the US to strike locations in both Asia and the Middle East. Diego Garcia was used to stage air support operations during the 1991 Gulf War, the 2001 Afghanistan War, and the 2003 Iraq War. The remote, restricted island, some contend, is also the site of a secret US prison camp, although American authorities deny the truth of such speculations. Only military employees are allowed to set foot there, and no journalist has been allowed to visit Diego Garcia since the establishment of the base. Number 7, Socotra Island. Located in the Arabian Sea, Socotra Island is rather special. This particular place is home to around 800 rare species of fauna and flowers. The plants on the island have evolved around the harsh climate and thrive in the sunshine. What makes this island so unique is that the plants are all randomly shaped and very odd. One of the most striking of Socotra's plants is the dragon's blood tree, Dracæna cinnabari, which is a strange-looking, umbrella-shaped tree. Its red sap was thought to be the dragon's blood of the ancients, sought after as a dye, and today used as a paint and varnish. The island was recognized by the United Nations Educational, Scientific, and Cultural Organization, UNESCO, as a World Natural Heritage Site in July 2008. People often think of Socotra as a sci-fi movie set due to its alien-type trees and carved limestone caves. It's sort of like a lost world where secret creatures hide and myths are hidden away from the human eye. Number 6. Earthquake Island. The powerful earthquake that killed 39 people and toppled homes in Pakistan in September 2013 also created an island. According to Pakistan's chief meteorologist, Mohammad Riaz, it was magnitude 7.7, while the U.S. Geological Survey in Colorado claimed it was a magnitude 7.8. The island didn't exist before the earthquake, but after the event, the Pakistan Meteorological Department's Director General, Arif Mahmood, said locals reported witnessing the creation of the tiny island, measuring 100 meters or 330 feet in length and 9 meters or 30 feet high near the port of Gwadar. Pakistan officials said it was possible that the earthquake buckled land under the sea, creating the island, but further investigation would be conducted to determine the cause. NASA images in intervening years have shown trails of eroded material in the water around the island as it slowly shrunk over time, until the April 27th shot showed it entirely disappeared. Still, Earthquake Island isn't completely gone. Material still swirls in the water where it once stood, suggesting some portion of it still juts up from below the surface. And the same fissures that created it might produce more mud volcano islands in the future, according to NASA. Number 5. Palmyra Atoll. Palmyra Atoll is one of the Northern Line Islands, southeast of Kingman Reef and north of Kiribati Line Islands. It is located almost due south of the Hawaiian Islands, roughly 1/3 of the way between Hawaii and American Samoa. First sighted in 1798, this uninhabited island in the Pacific has been reported to have had a number of paranormal experiences take place on its shores. The most famous occurrence is when a group of sailors sailed their boat named Angel across the sea and ended up on the edge of Palmyra's lagoon. Soon after, they found themselves stuck, so they decided to walk onto the island and take a look around. It is unclear whether the sailors were shipwrecked or that they crashed onto Palmyra, yet their bodies were later found spread out across the island. They had been brutally murdered, and to this day, no one knows who did it. Tourists are allowed to visit Palmyra. However, Palmyra Atoll is hard to get to, and so few visit. And visits must have prior approval. Fish and Wildlife says public access to Palmyra Atoll is self-limiting due to the very high expense of traveling to such a remote destination. The Nature Conservancy owns and operates the only airplane runway on Palmyra, and by boat it's a 5 to 7 day sailing trip from Honolulu. There are 4 ways the public may gain access to the refuge. 1. Working for, contracting with, or volunteering for the National Conservancy or Fish and Wildlife Service. 2. Conducting scientific research via Fish and Wildlife Service special use permits. 3. Invitation through the Nature Conservancy sponsored donor trip. Or 4. Visitation by private recreational sailboat or motorboat. Number 4. Floating Eye Island. Located in the Parana Delta between the cities of Campana and Zarate in Buenos Aires province, in Argentina, is an island shaped like a nearly perfect circle with a diameter of 120 meters or 390 feet. It is surrounded by a channel that also forms a nearly perfect circle. Thanks to the presence of the round landmass inside it, the channel looks much like a crescent moon. Together, the island and channel resemble an eye, an appearance that suggested the island's nickname. The eye floats, it also rotates on its own axis, film director Sergio Neuspeller said. The filmmaker discovered the eye in 2016 while he was scouting locations for a science fiction movie. Having made the astonishing discovery of the mysterious island, Neuspeller and his crew, including Richard Petroni, a hydraulic and civil engineer from New York who's become involved in the project, decided to make a crowd-funded documentary about the eye, instead of filming the science fiction movie Neuspeller had originally intended to make. Number 3. Easter Island. Easter Island is an island and special territory of Chile in the southeastern Pacific Ocean. It is believed that Easter Island's Polynesian inhabitants arrived on Easter Island somewhere near 1200 AD. You won't find any Easter eggs lying around here, but you will find very cool carved figures with oversized faces. There are almost 900 of them, and they date back from centuries ago. The iconic statues are a huge tourist attraction and were created by Polynesian engineers and expert craftsmen. Like all mysteries, no one understands the true purpose behind these figures or how they were sprinkled all over the island. Perhaps it will forever remain a mystery. Scientists may never find a conclusive answer to why the Polynesians colonized the island and why the civilization collapsed so quickly. Whether an invasive species of rodent or humans devastated the environment, Easter Island remains a cautionary tale for the world. Number 2. Poveglia Island. Nicknamed as Italy's most haunted island, this is another mysterious find that will have you feeling a little bit freaked out. It is home to hundreds of years of cruelty and murder and has a very twisted history behind it. Back when the plague hit the world's population, the island was used as a cage to separate the dead from the living. Poveglia was where people lived out the last of their plague-riddled lives and were sometimes burned alive in mass graves. The mystery of the island is to do with the so-called spirits, which you can still hear screaming at night. The island was used as a quarantine station from 1793 until 1814. In 1922, the existing buildings were converted into an asylum for the mentally ill and later used as a nursing home, long-term facility until its closure in 1968. Afterwards, the island was briefly used for agriculture and then completely abandoned. Visits to the island are prohibited, but various books and articles discuss visits by a writer and/or photographer. One of the latter described a place of peace and serenity. Number 1. Island of Dolls. In Mexico, there's a very popular island, but it's not uninhabited by people. In fact, it is home to hundreds of old, dead dolls. Of course, the dolls were never alive, yet they've been made to look dead with paint and gouged eyes. According to legend, a young woman drowned, entangled among the lilies of the canal, and her body was found on the banks of the Santampa Chinampas. Don Julian began to experience inexplicable situations. So, terrified, he placed dolls that he found in the garbage or in the canals of Cumanco with the idea that they would scare the soul of the young woman who would cry out, "I want my doll!" He also found a doll floating nearby and, assuming it belonged to the deceased girl, hung it from a tree as a sign of respect. After this, he began to hear whispers, footsteps in the darkness, even though his hut, hidden deep inside the woods of Xochimilco, was miles away from civilization. Driven by fear, he spent the next 50 years hanging more and more dolls, some missing body parts, all over the island, in an attempt to appease what he believed to be the drowned girl's spirit. Tourists flock here every year to get a fright and a good sighting of the island. It's very popular at Halloween, believe it or not. The locals state that there are ghosts lurking around the waters, ready to jump into your body and possess you. However, you may find that the dolls themselves are scarier than any demons or spiritual beings. Which of these islands do you think you would ever have the guts to visit? Comment down below. Let us know. We'd love to hear from you. Thanks for watching, four-reelers. Hey, are you a four-reeler yet? If not, what in the world? Join the movement. Click the subscribe and ring the bell to get notified. Stay safe until next time.